Good morning to the honored Dr. Hendra Teja Suksmana as the head of the Master Study Program in TEFL, Graduate School of Vidya Mandala, Surabaya Catholic University.
Good morning to the honored Dr. Gumawang Jati and Ms. Lexie Estacio MA as the speakers of the webinar.
And good morning to the honored participants of this webinar.
Welcome to our webinar entitled Teacher Professional Development, Teachers Featuring Technology, held by Master Study Program in TFL, Graduate School of Vidya Mandala, Surabaya Catholic University.
I'm Angela Veronica Pinky Atuna, and my partner Caroline Lalita Agra will be the host of today's webinar. We welcome all the participants, our students, teachers, and also lecturers coming from different cities and regions in Indonesia, and also everybody from around the world, such as from Malaysia, Philippines, Thailand, Nepal, Turkey, Bangladesh, India, and Saudi Arabia. In total, there are 460 participants registered, and this makes us all excited to start this webinar.
Thank you, Angela. Okay, let's open this webinar with a prayer. We'd like to invite Ms. Diana Kurniawati to lead the prayer. Ms. Kurniawati, time's yours.
Okay, thank you. Dear all participants, before we start this webinar today, we are going to pray, and I will lead the prayer in Christian. Let's pray. Dear Almighty and ever-loving God, we glorify and thank thee your name, who have showered us with so much blessing, and your presence continuously remind us of your faithfulness and guidance. We humbly ask you to show our speakers today of your greatest inspiration, so that they may share the most of their knowledge, heart, and soul to their respective topics. May we also absorb the knowledge and experiences and put it into practice, what we learned today. We also pray that you bless all the companies in charge, so that they may be able to fulfill their tasks responsibly, and the objectives they have set may all be achieved well. Your blessing would mean the success of this webinar. We ask this in the name of Jesus Christ, our Lord and Savior. Amen. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Kurniawati. Now would like to invite all of the participants and the panelists to listen to the national anthem of Indonesia, Indonesia Raya.
will have some speeches, and the first one comes from the head of the committees of the webinar. Mr. Gayu Adiprayoga, time is yours.
Good morning, everyone. Honorable guest speakers, Dr. Gumawang Jati and Lexie Estacio MA, Head of Master's Degree Program in TEFL, Dr. Hendra Teja Suksmana, and dearest participants, welcome to join our webinar on Teacher Professional Development, Teachers Featuring Technology. My name is Gayu Adiprayoga, and I am the head of the committee of this webinar. As we all know that the COVID-19 pandemic has influenced many aspects of our life, including education. Educational organizations now are using technology in delivering materials and accommodating education for learners. During this pandemic, for about 4 months in Indonesia, the exploration of technology in order to be used in education is underway to make the education keep running well. It is the fact that some teachers need more inspirations and ideas how to implement technology in teaching. That is why today's webinar will give us insights and inspiration on how teachers with technology accommodate education, teaching in particular. Dr. Gumawang Jati is the first speaker. He's going to present low and high technology in teaching. And Lexie Estacio MA, as the second speaker, is going to present pedagogical consideration in blended learning. Without further ado, it is time to start this webinar. Thank you for joining.
Thank you, Mr. Prayuga. Now we'll invite Mr. Hendra Teja Suksmana as the head of the Master Study Program in TEFL to give a speech. Mr. Teja Suksmana, time's yours.
Good morning, Lexie Estacio, Master of Arts, and also Dr. Gumawang Jati. So we are still waiting for him. So hopefully that Dr. Gumawang Jati will be with us soon. And good morning to all of you, every participants. It's a pleasure to meet you all in good health, even though we cannot really meet face to face as we usually did before the pandemic. We are glad that Dr. Gumawang Jati and Lexie Estacio, Master of Arts, can be together among us to give inspiring ideas and share ideas concerning technology in teaching. This webinar is hosted by the Master's Program in ELT of Vidya Mandala Surabaya Catholic University and organized by our students as the practical implementation of the theory they have got in their workshop training class. We also expect that the participants will be actively engaged in the ice-breaking activities prepared by the committee. For this, the committee would give you some presents to the winners. So stay to the end. You know that our study program, we also hold other webinars in the near future, and we also cordially invite you all to join, and we will let you know. And today's webinar would give you fruitful ideas of how to implement the ideas in your class. Well, last but not least, we extend our thanks to the student committee who have been working hard to make this event possible. Happy webinar.
Thank you, Mr. Teja Suksmana. Now I will read the agenda of this webinar. This webinar will be started by KH Estacio MA as the first session speaker. Then the question and answer session will follow. After that, we will have the first quiz with door prizes. Then there will be Dr. Gumawang Jati as the speaker of the second session. Similarly, question and answer session will follow. Lastly, we will have the second quiz with the prizes. After the two sessions finish, there will be conclusion for both sessions. Then we will have closing remark from Mr. Gayu Adi Prayoga as the head of the committees. Announcement of the quizzes of the winners of both sessions will be delivered at the end of the webinar, together with the questionnaire link. If you have any questions during the session, please type them in the Q&A column of your Zoom control panel, not your tab column. Thank you.
Hello, good day, dinner panelists and participants. I am Dia Ratnawati, and I'll be your moderator for the first session of the webinar. We are pleased to welcome Dr. Anuncius Gumawang Jati, a very special guest from Bandung, Indonesia. I believe most of us here are already familiar with his work, but let me give a brief introduction about him. Dr. Jati earned his bachelor's degree from Sanata Dharma University, got his master's degree from University of Warwick, the United Kingdom, and received his doctoral degree from Indonesia University of Education. Currently, he is a senior English lecturer of Bandung Institute of Technology, the core skills trainer at British Council Indonesia, and of course, the president of ITEL. If you want to connect, Dr. Jati is active on social media platforms like Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter under the username of @Gumawang_Jati. And today, Dr. Jati will be sharing with us his expert opinion on the low and high technology in teaching. We have 1 hour for this session, 45 minutes for Dr. Jati's presentation, and 15 minutes for the question and answer session. With that, I ask that you give your full attention to Pak Jati's presentation. Dr. Jati, time is yours.
Okay, thank you, Budia. Sorry for the late joining this webinar. I got a problem with my connection. Fortunately, I can get in. Yeah, thanks so much. Okay, good morning, everyone. I'd like to talk a little bit, share my experience on using low and high technology. Let me share my PowerPoint. Okay, so I'm going to talk about low and high technology in teaching in general. Then this is the menu for today. The menu for today is going to be 3 for breakfast, teaching and learning resources. For lunchtime, authoring tools. Then for dinner, artificial intelligence. Yeah, so we have the whole day menu for my session in 45 minutes. Okay, to start with, I want you to go to menti.com and then enter the code 470095. You can use your mobile phone or your laptop. Go to menti.com and the code is 470095. Yeah, somebody already is there. how would you feel when, how do you feel when you teach from home during this COVID? That's the second questions. Um, Let me go back first, sorry. Yeah, let me share. Okay, sorry, I got problem in sharing the result. Just a second. Yeah, so this is the feeling. It's mostly challenging. Some of you are tired, some of you happy. I'll join the happy then. Yeah, some are frustrating and relaxed. Now, the next one. Yeah, questions. What digital tools or apps do you use for teaching? Google Classroom, mostly, Padlet, Kahoot, WhatsApp, Google Sheet, quizzes. Yeah, Socrative, Moodle, Google Docs. Okay, so everyone is very good in technology. I think I do not need to continue my presentation. Yeah, the third questions. This one. What are your considerations when choosing apps? Okay, easy to use, simple, goals, simplicity, user-friendly, comfortable. Okay, so that's the consideration. Okay, thank you very much for, I'm going to keep this open so that you can play with that. Let me go back to my presentation. Now, let me see. Yeah. So this is the high and low. When you teach using online, you have to consider this. The red area here, video conferences, audio conferences, they are high bandwidth and synchronous, like what we are doing right now. Very expensive, need a lot of bandwidth because it's high bandwidth. Then if you have a recorded asynchronous pre-recorded video, for instance, ask your student to log in and a lot of recorded YouTube and recorded audio, that's still high bandwidth. Yeah, this one, the red one, it's the easiest one for the teacher because like you are entering a classroom and you start teaching. The challenge for us is here. Collaborative document, group chat, how to create that activity. And we have a discussion board, text messages, and so on in this area. That's a low bandwidth, meaning cheap. No need a lot of bandwidth here. So when you teach, you have to consider this. Do not play around too much in this area with the video conferences. Think about collaborative document. Think about chat room. Think about WhatsApp group and so on. Yeah, but not here. These two areas, it's very good for learning languages, but again, it's expensive. Yeah, so consider that. Now, teaching and learning resources. Good resources is a British Council, for instance. When I click British Council org, you have a, do you see my British Council slide or webpage, or can you help me, Budia? What do you see on your screen? Hello?
I see British Council website.
Okay, good. Because I'm not sure whether it's my screen is going to be on your screen, so I'm going to check here and there. Yeah. So this is the British Council, for example, as a resources, very complete. If you go to skills, speaking, listening, and reading, you go grammar, beginner, and so on. So if I click this and choose speaking, there are a lot of exercises. For example, I choose speaking here. Then I choose the beginner. Then at the stop, for instance, I'm going to go very quick here. And there are a lot of exercise. This is the preparation and the instruction. Check your understanding, multiple choice exercise. Then you have the exercise there. Yeah, you can do it, or the students can do that. Get filled, for example, and then they do the exercises. So it's pretty complete there. My question is, why bother creating your own? You're wasting a lot of time. Why not searching and you find one and then give it to your students? Yeah. So that's not only British Council website. There are many websites that provide a lot of exercises. So instead of then if you have a long website, for example, like this one is pretty long, don't give this to your students. You have to think of, put it, make it short using bit.ly.com. I think you're familiar with that. Yeah. Now, online resources, teaching resources, like that I just show you, provide variety of educational topics, many topics there, short quizzes there. Yeah, and students can do a self-directed learning there. Very similar with the printed material. It's there. No need to create your own unless you want to make it special. Yeah. So think about that. Think about the energy. If you're not happy with the exercise or you cannot find the exercise on the web, then you can use Quizlet to create your exercises. You can have quizzes or you can use Telegram. Yeah. If you live in the remote area or the students got problem having the access, Telegram is very good. Telegram right now giving quiz. It's possible using Telegram, using voice, using picture, using a short video. If you want to know more about this, go to here. Yeah, so later you can have my slide, and then this is the quizzes in Telegram. There is a very good tutorial there. I've tried it for SMP students, and they are happy with that. Yeah, so think about that as an alternative of a low bandwidth, not very high bandwidth. Yeah, so we are talking about mostly here, this area, text, messages, and so on, and here. Group chat using Telegram and so on. So we are playing in these two areas, that's low bandwidth, synchronous and asynchronous. Now, there are a lot of things that you can do here, collaborative document. Then you can go to, for example, file stage, very powerful document collaboration tools. It's on the mobile apps, yeah, not using a laptop. My students, they love that when I ask them to work in groups and I use file stage instead of Google Docs, because Google Docs is quite heavy on that, yeah. So you can try it. Google Docs, sometimes that's okay. It works both in mobile and also desktop. Then another one, it's bit.ai. This is good for collaboration in a real time. Yeah, but the key function is not complete. But if you have a short collaboration very quick to ask an opinion to decide about something, you only have say 5 minutes, 10 minutes, then my advice, you go to bit.ai instead of Google Doc, because Google Doc, the loading will take time on that. Yeah, but again, the key functionally, it's not as complete as Google Doc. Or you can go to Soho. Yeah, Soho provide online storage and management capabilities, but the loading time is very slow. So if you give a project that needs a long time to handle or to work on, that will be okay. But a short, quick discussion that you want to see the result, Soho, it's not the right apps. Yeah. So collaborative documents, there are Notion as well, Quip, SharePoint, Evernote, and Site. There are more. So it's worth for you to try that, yeah, to eliminate the Zoom area or the collaborative video conference area. Yeah, collaborative document is very good. You can open the instruction using video conferencing, maybe 3 or 2 minutes, then move them to the collaborative document, and then you can be in that, and then using the chat facility to guide or to ask the students. Now, listening. Listening is, in the past, in my era when I learned English, it's very expensive, but now it's very cheap. You can go to LO with 3L, or that's a English listening lesson library online. So you do not need to go to the language lab, for example. You can use your mobile to do that. I'm going to show you very quickly on that. Yeah, so this is the listening library online. There are a lot of exercises and a lot of listening, thousands of them. Say go to audio lesson, for instance, then there are over 1,400 free lessons in there. Yeah. For example, I choose here, more recent. Then I go to, say, Bangkok shopping, for example. Yeah, so it's a Jerry talk about shopping option in Bangkok for fashion. So you have the listening here. Then this is a Thai lady, and
so I'm here with Jerry, and she's Thai, and we are in Bangkok, and we are going to talk about fashion. So Jerry, Bangkok is a very
the advantages of this is a real global English. So it's a Thai with American, or American with American, Indonesian with Thai, and so on and so on. So there are many exercises, because there's a lot of volunteers building the exercises and then upload it in this website. Yeah, so it's for you to explore. You get a quiz there, very complete quiz as well. And then we have a, sorry, this is vocab, and then we have a quiz. Yeah, again, why bother creating your own if there are a lot of available out there? You can do something else. Yeah, you can pay attention, not just the listening, but you can do the other soft skill, for instance. Now, this is the authoring tools. If you want to play around with listening activities, then we have a Flipgrid. It's a video discussion, again, playing in a high bandwidth. It's fun and so on in the area where the signal is very good. Lyric training. Lyric training is good for if you like songs, teaching with songs, and so on. It's in one package. If you want to teach using video, we have a puzzle. So you can choose your own video, you can create your own exercise. But again, if available out there with the exercise, why bother creating your own? But if that is very special, then you can try that. Yeah. So this is the tutorial for Flipgrid. I put it there. Lyric training, if you want to know more. This is the resources to learn how to use that, and then the add puzzle. Again, we are playing the area here. So it's high bandwidth. Asynchronous, high bandwidth, it's very good. So if you load student too much in this area, they need a lot of quota here, credit for the mobile phone and so on. Yeah. So audio conferencing, like what we have done today, it's very expensive actually in terms of bandwidth. But this is the comparison, Zoom and Google Hangout. A lot of teachers use Google Hangout. Need a lot of bandwidth there. Yeah. One that I found could be good for you is a StreamYard. StreamYard, it's like a stage. You got 5 seats with yourself, so it becomes 6. So you can invite students to do a discussion, and the rest of the class, they can watch the discussion in YouTube or live in Facebook. Then they can ask questions. So it's like having a small panelist, small discussion. So if you're in that situation, you want to talk about something, hot topics and so on with a group of students. So instead of doing webinar like this, maybe it's good if you prepare 5 students with you to a panel talk, and then the rest of the class will participate and can ask questions and so on using types. Yeah. 20 hours per week free. So I think it's good enough. Yeah, 20 hours. We will use it less than 20 hours actually for this kind of exercises. Yeah, worth trying. So we are talking about here, yeah, high bandwidth. Okay, let's move on to AI. But before move on to AI, I would like to say something. Here, it's things that you have to consider before you design your activities for your class. Another thing is the presence of the teacher. It's very important in online learning. The presence of the interactivity between the students and the materials, and also the presence of friends, meaning the social presence. It's also important. Most of us, including me, when design an activity, I forget that they need friends. Inside the classroom, they are real friends. In the virtual world, you have to create somehow group work, greeting each other and so on. It's also very important element so that the learning happen. Not just teacher with the material, not just the students with the material, not just the students with you, not just student with the friend. The 3 of this component should presence in a lesson. If not 3, maybe 2, but not just 1. The student will get overwhelmed. Alone at home with the parents, and then you have to work with the exercises for 1 hour. Whoa, that's something. Yeah. So keep that in mind. Now I'm going to talk about AI a little bit. AI is a friend, actually. It's not a tool for learning like what we have just talked about. It's more a friend for learning or a friend for teaching. Yeah. This is AI. It's start with speech recognition. They can decide it's visual, can translate languages and so on. AI learn 24/7. We learn not 24/7 because we are human. They can be precise, but they are not creative like humans. So a lot of tasks will be taken by AI, not our job, but tasks, yes. A lot of human tasks will be taken by AI, yes. and the AI and the language learning become our friend. Now let's see some AI and the language learning. For example, you want to improve your vocabulary, why not try a chatbot? Let's go to Replica, for example. Let's try for a minute. So this is the AI. I log in. Yeah. So this is Ponira, my AI that I talk to, and then I will say good morning, for example. Yeah, and then I'm so happy we got to talk today, and then I will say a lot of questions and so on and so on. Okay, I'm not going to continue talking to my Ponira. Anyway, you can add something here for the mood. Yeah, whether you are good or you are not good and so on, and then you can continue talking. Replica, it's very good in talking about feelings because Replica developed by people who work with human emotion on that. Yeah, so talking about feeling, if you want to talk about or you teach vocabulary around feeling, maybe it's worth trying to ask your student to talk to this AI. It's free. Yeah? So that's called Replica. FE is different. Should we try FE? I think so. We got time anyway. FE is a little bit talkative, and you can use voice here. Yeah. For example, should I log in? I don't think so. I already logged in. Okay. Say to Evie, hi.
I love you.
Then I said, why do you love me?
You are always there for me, and are you?
Yeah. So that's a good for practice again. Yeah. Okay. I have to say goodbye. If not, when I talk to her next time, she will get mad. Sorry. See you later. Yeah. Another chatbot. It's to improve vocabulary. It's Elsa. That's in the mobile. I think it's pretty popular for pronunciation, good conversation, and so on. That's a lot of exercise. So here it's more like tutor. Yeah, Elsa has become the student's tutor for pronunciation and also some phrases. Here it's more like friend. Yeah, more casual. Here it's more like teaching. Yeah, personal tutor. Another one is text-to-speech. If you have a reading class, then maybe it's good for you to ask the student to listen to a robot that's reading text. For example, I'm going to show you very quickly this. So you can change this, drag and drop, put the text here, and then the robot will read it for you. So if I play, yeah, it's very much depends on the connection.
Drag and drop your files or type, paste, and edit text here. Natural Reader is a professional text-to-speech program that converts any written text into spoken words. The paid versions of Natural Reader have many more features. If you are interested in using our voices for non-personal use such as for YouTube videos, e-learning, or other commercial or public purposes, please check out our Natural Reader commercial web application.
Yeah, it's not perfect like human or like you modeling the teaching, also the reading, but it's good that they can hear the pronunciation anyway. You can set the speed. If normal, then put it 0. If minus, it's getting slower, and so on and so on. You can try it later and think about whether it's worth giving to the students or not. Yeah. so that they can get the exposure of reading aloud. Okay, now writing. How about writing? Do you think the robot can write? Yes. My students love this one, essay writing. So essaybot.com, they will help you or students to write. So I log in, for example, then I create a new essay. Then I'm going to write something, for example, writing English with, let's see. Then I start writing on that topics. Yeah, and then this Robert give me some paragraph. 1, 2, 3, 4. So they give me paragraph. Actually, this one I use not for teaching writing, but for reading. Before they write, they have to go here and see what's out there about this. For example, if I choose this one, start with this. Tip for plagiarism context, I got it. Then they already paraphrase for me. I no need to paraphrase and so on and so on. If I click OK, that's become my paragraph here. Yeah, already paraphrased from the previous paragraph. If I want to add more resources dealing with this, then I got option. For example, if I'm going to add here this one, then paraphrase this paragraph. Yes. Then I'm happy with that and add to my essay. So they edit here and that's the reference there. Yeah. Again, when the students submit this to the teacher, it's not a good essay because this paragraph and the next paragraph and so on will not be coherent. Yeah, it's good for the students to know that there are many things or somebody already write similar things out there. Again, I advise my students this as a reading, as a source, but not for writing. Yeah, before they write actually, so that they got the feel of that. So that's essay writing. If you go to Quillboard, this is maybe you need that. This is paraphrasing. They will paraphrase for you. So why bother teaching paraphrasing with a lot of those lengthy explanation and theories and so on and so on. Now that's already taken over by a robot. Yeah. So you just type it here, then the paraphrase there, quilt and then paraphrase. I'm not going to practice it. Yeah, but it's very, very simple way to do it. It's there. Pro and cons, some teachers like it, some teachers don't like it. But then, yeah, it's there. Another one, robot is generator, masterpiece generator. For example, if I click here, I can write a very good poem. Let's choose, for example, love poem there. Then this is good if you're teaching SMP or SMR. When you're teaching, say, adjective, something beautiful, a noun, rainbow. An adjective to describe the person for your poem about, say, I say beautiful. An adjective to describe that person's eyes, I'll say round. An adjective to describe the person hair, I will say black. Adjective to describe the person leg, I will say long. Adjective to describe the person arm, I will say strong. An adjective to describe the person's smile, I'll say sweet. Then I put the initial here. Then write me the love poem. Then the computer or the robot works. That's the poem there. Roses are red, violets are blue. A night is beautiful, and so are you. Orchids are white, and so on. Yeah, so that's a generator. It's not only for poetry, but you can do a lot of things, not just for poem, not just for poetry, but you can write a short story. If you click here, you can write a short story guided by the robot. If you want to write a play, for example, not in here, but when you click the story, there are another option. You can write a play and then will be guided by a robot using Masterpiece. Yeah. So think about that. Then the students later on, they can modify, make it in the right context and so on and so on. But at least this become a friend to exercise before real writing a play, for example. Yeah. Okay, that's a Masterpiece generator. This is a Quilt, interactive writing and grammar. This is like learning management system. I'm not going to show it, but if you log in there, they will give you platform. They will help you teaching your student. They will give you topics. They can check the students' work. They can check the students' spelling and so on and so on. So make the teaching a little bit less painful, actually. Yeah. So try it. It's still in the phase of beta trial, but it's working okay so far. Not perfect yet, but it's there. Another one that most teachers like is lesson writer. They will write lesson plan for you. Let's have a look at that. Yeah. So it's a lesson writer. What you have to do is you need a good text. Then the rest will be handled by the robot. I have to log in. So I'm going to start teaching. Then make a lesson. Yeah, if using text is free. If I have a video, then they will create the exercise and so on and so on. I have to pay. Let's go to text, for instance. Okay, choose my class. Then I have to enter something here, the time, topic, the author, and so on. I just to fill something in there. Okay, then you have to put the text here. Let me get a text first. Just a second. Do I have a text here? Yes. So I got this text. Okay, so I just copy the text. I'm going to use this for my teaching, for instance, and then I copy that. Then I go back to here. Then I put it there. Yeah. Then create from this text. Yeah. Okay. Then I click continue. Then I want it express because I want to do it quick. If I use standard, then I can customize more. If I want full automatics, then I click express. Yeah. So it very much depends on the connection. I hope my connection is will be okay. Yeah. Okay. Save and continue because I can save my lesson plan and then I can modify it later if I want to. Yeah. Even though it's created by a robot, but I can always modify that. Save and continue. It cannot be reached. Just a second. Maybe I need to close some more. Okay. Save and continue. Yeah. Okay. So this is the worksheet for students. This is the pronunciation. This is the vocabulary that I have to teach. And this is the reading comprehension. This is the reading test that I paid today. And this is the questions created by the robot. And this is the focus on grammar. And this is the exercise for vocabulary, fill in the blank exercise, and so on. Yeah. Then write your own sentences. So the robot provide me with this. And also they provide me with the lesson plan. So if I click the lesson plan here, they have the lesson plan, the objective, the vocabulary, the activity, description, differentiation guide, and assessment, how to do the assess the students and so on. And at the end, I have the answer key. The challenge is if you're teaching just like this, without any activities, just these activities, meaning that you are just like robot. So think about it. It must be very boring. Again, I will not recommend that the teachers just using this and happy with that. No, there is no activities at all. So think about if you teach just vocabulary and grammar exercise like this for 1 hour or 45 minutes, then you are just robot. So think about it. Where is your creativity and so on? Yeah. So some part is taken by the robot. It's good for us, or it's good for teachers to start with. At least this is a draft before going inside the classroom. Use it as it is. Use it as it is. I will not recommend at all. So don't. Yeah. Use this so you get the view. Okay, this grammar is important, and then what the activity, not like this. Another interactive activity. Yeah. Okay. So I'm getting lost with my panel actually, but that's okay. It's then I put it on the website. I almost finished. Give me like 1 second to finish my presentation. Yeah, we are here. Okay, so that's a lesson writer. Now, creation tools, if you want to have project with your students, this is my recommendation for tools. One is photo story. If you want to make a project, some of you are familiar with that. Canva, very popular among young teachers, to create a poster, to create a Instagram, to create presentation like what I just did here. I'm using Canva for this and so on. Screencast, that's to create a video. And this is very similar with Screencastify. Yeah, Screencastify is a lot easier. If you want more complex, then you can have here screen recorder with video editor from Screencast-O-Matic. Yeah. So this tools is can be used if you give a project for the students, and they need steps and so on and so on. Yeah. Now this is the tutorial that you can have a look at that. Whether that's appropriate for your project or not. Yeah, but don't use it for creating a material for teaching. Yeah, it's not meant to be that way. It's meant to be for project when you have to work with students. Okay, if you need another pedagogy or apps webinar, we have a lot of resources. I'm going to show you very quickly. British Council webinar session 1. It's covered a lot of materials during the COVID because we run like 14 or I forgot how many. This is a recorded version, exploring and integrating digital teaching and learning material. Me, Colm, and Joe Dale from the UK. I'm talking about AI here. Project Cerita Digital from Made is here. Meaningful and engaging learning, remote learning experience is recorded here. So there are many. Yeah. Unleashing a CMC, handling meaningful feedback. So there are many webinars that we run with the British Council. ITEL run with the British Council. There are 2 sessions. This is the season. This is the season 1. If you click this one, then you go to season 2. With slightly very similar topics. This is Q&A with the team. Anything, everything about online. Coping with limited bandwidth. With Pak Agus, we have creating engaging and learning tasks with technology. So there are many more, up to emergency remote teaching using WhatsApp and emojis. So from high to low, is there recorded version? Go to the website and you can got some ideas, hopefully. Yeah. This is my material. So take a picture if you like, or you can scan my QR code, or you go to bit.ly/JatiWima 2020. Then you got the whole presentation that I presented today. Yeah. This is my email address. If you like to ask something or give a suggestion or whatsoever, email me. Disturb my life. When you disturb my life, then I learn because I'm an old man. If you don't ask a lot of questions, then I will not learn a new thing. I'm also in Facebook, Twitter, and also Instagram. Not very much in Instagram. A little bit difficult for me to catch up with those icons and to understand the language of the young people at the moment. I'm more on Twitter and Facebook, I'd say. Okay, thank you very much. And it back to Ibu Diah. Thank you, Ibu.
Thank you, Dr. Jati, for the presentation. We did receive lots of new insight. Now, dear participants, I would like to open the Q&A session, and we start with the first question from Faria. So this is the question: do we have to pay for filestate.io?
There are the there are free version for that. If you want to have the pro version, yeah, you have to pay.
Okay, thank you. And then the second question is from CJ. For preschool, will these online resources be advisable to use?
I would say no. This one, I'm working more on SMP, SMA, and university. If you're looking for elementary like TK, SD, need a special treatment, contact me through my email, and then I can give you the answer. There are some sites and there are some recorded webinar that I have that I know, but I cannot remember it right now. I can introduce you to Ibu Vinita Dewi. She is the expert for young learners and technology, actually.
Thank you, sir. Next, we have Miss Yuni from Catur Insan Cendekia University, Cirebon. The question is, I would like to ask something based on my experiences in teaching in this pandemic situation. I often make the video to explain the grammar, then be uploaded in YouTube channel. How to encourage the students to be interactive? Because the students only download and see the video from my YouTube channel. How is the way for me to make students active to respond my video I made? Thank you.
Okay. Like I said, online, you need 3 components at least. One, the students should interact with the materials, and your presence should be there, and their friend. So if you upload your explanation in YouTube, the students download it and they watch it. They just interact with the material and you, no friends at all. Yeah. So to encourage the student to work, maybe you can give the instruction using YouTube. Then you can have a group discussion, try some platform or Google Docs or something, yeah, for students to work not individual, but maybe in groups, and have a kind of competitions between groups that will encourage the students more. So it's need a lot of designing before you start creating materials. Yeah, what's the scenario? Think about social presence, meaning they have to be working with their friend, and you should presence there, and also the material should be engaging. So there's 3 components, and then you start thinking of activities and tools. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, sir. We have similar question from Yanti Susiwi and Adike. I will read them both. What application is the most suitable for my students in a remote area who often have poor signal? And then second, is there any tools or AI to help teaching listening using low bandwidth? Using tools or AI with low bandwidth will help my students in the rural area. Thank you.
Okay, listening, try LO, but the audio, not the video. Yeah, LO, that's very light. Yeah, for audio, it's lighter than podcast. Yeah. Okay, the first question was with low bandwidth remote area. Go to the website, ITEL website. There are some tips in there. My advice for you, try to explore Telegram. Yeah, Telegram group, and Telegram will give a simple but again meaningful multiple choice exercises, pulling exercises, because you can insert your voice and then they can do the exercise, and then and so on and so on. So think about having a Telegram group for you to give the instruction, and then another Telegram group for the student to discuss. So you can have 2. And then you can set the one that's only you, the teacher, can post in the students' Telegram. They can post, everyone can post, so you can control that. Yeah, I think that's a solution. But if the area is very remote, don't use technology. Use something else. Yeah, thank you.
The next question is from Sier. Sier has 2 questions. The first, to what extent we can let AI take over the lecturer's role, such as on grammar, paraphrasing, and summarizing for writing class, for example, since pretty much the AI can do almost everything. And then the second, another thing, the apps for writing, are they workable for English only? What about Indonesian?
Because okay, I answered the second one. AI writing English only, no. You can try Bahasa Indonesia, but it's not perfect. You can try Chinese, but it's not perfect. They cannot paraphrase the Chinese version on the Indonesian version, but they give you a lot of paragraph models in Bahasa Indonesia. Yeah. Again, that's my opinion. I think it's good for reading. I want to write about this, and then what's out there. It's good for reading, not really helpful while the students write. Yeah, to get some ideas when before they start writing, to open up the views, like how many people, what they say about these topics, and so on and so on. Yeah, it's more on that rather than helping. AI and writing almost done everything. No, actually. I will ask the student, my students at the debate to work with AI. For example, if I give assignment, writing assignment, I will say, okay, go to essay board and see what's your opinion about your topic. After that, I will ask them to work with another AI, say lesson writer, or another adds-on in Google Docs. There are many. They can work with them in a group and so on and so on. So the learning happen when they're working in a group and working with the AI. Yeah, and then my score, it's not about grammar because they already work with the AI and the grammar point. Of course, the grammar will be very good. Then my question will be like, where is the context? Who is this writing for? So it's more on that area. Is it appropriate for now? What's your prediction about this? Do you think this will make people angry? And so on and so on. Do you think you can sell your ideas to a big company? And so on and so on. So let them working with the grammar, with the paraphrasing and so on with the AI. Then I challenge them more on the thinking and more on the use of the writing itself. I will not mark up the grammar, of course. Yeah, I mark the grammar. Yeah, I mark the AI's grammar actually. Okay, back to Dia.
Okay. Next, we have Marlina. Do you have any suggestions on how to make an e-learning more interactive between the teacher and the students?
Very difficult question to answer in a very short time. But again, e-learning, you have to consider the teacher's readiness. How ready are you? Students' readiness, how they are ready. The school readiness, how are the schools ready? Yeah, start with that. And then we can start designing something based on those three categories. I cannot really articulate that or answer that in a very simple way. Actually, it's a complex. If you're going to like you're creating school, how should I create a good school? Yeah, almost no answer on that. Yeah, but for e-learning, again, readiness of the teacher, readiness of the students, and also readiness of the schools. Then we start thinking about the connection and so on and so on. But those three things are essentials. Yeah, need a lot of very deep need analysis on those three areas.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Next,
Judy.
next we have a question from Mr. Evan Sanjaya from Petra School. Technology is a double-edged sword. What should we do as a teacher to prevent the students misuse the power of technology, especially when they are having teaching learning activities online and or offline?
That's again very general question. How to prevent the students? I would say it's not our job to prevent the students doing bad things using technology, but your instruction should be very clear to the students. That's number one. Number two, there should be a rule in using the technology. At the beginning of the semester, I have a very strict rules about how to use the technology and how to communicate with me, how to cheat. Yeah, if you want to cheating, because I know how they will cheat that, and so on, and what's the punishment and so on. So I have a very clear rules. If I say, if you never give the homework, then you will get this. If you do this, but you're not seriously, you take it very easy, you give me your first draft without proving with the AI and so on, you will get this and so on and so on. Yeah, rule and regulation, it's very important. Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Now we have Miss Salma from Malang State University. Thank you very much for such an insightful webinar, sir. I wish to ask regarding educational platforms, which in your perspective are highly effective in evaluating students' progress. Because during this online learning and teaching, it's difficult to keep track of how they are progressing and the internet can be deceiving to them using copy-paste technology. Thank you once again, sir.
Okay, how to make it? Technology is only a tools. Yeah, if you're asking me which tools are effective, it's very much depends on the teacher. A lot of platform, like if I mention like Schoology or Moodle or whatever, if you do it right, you can track your students' progress very easily. But again, to make it effective, it's not the platform, but more on the teacher. How you give the task, in which area, and what's the portfolio, and so on. So there is no magic word or magic technology that will work perfectly for you, fit for everyone. Yeah. So my answer will be very much depends on the teacher, the readiness of the teacher, but not the platform or the tools.
Okay, thank you, sir. Now we have Miss Mala Manuru. Miss Mala Manuru has one statement and one question. The statement is, I agree to Pak Jati's thought about the context of video. Last time, my students got bored with video. Sometimes they even don't see the video because almost all teachers made video. I knew it from the way they did their assignment. And then second, do you think the app like Grammarly is useful for teaching grammar, or maybe more suitable for independent learning?
Like I said, AI, Grammarly, Quillport, and so on, it's a friend. Yeah, it's the friend of the students. So don't use it for teaching. Make the Grammarly as a friend. Okay, kids, you got this exercise. You have to do this, this, this. You can work with Grammarly. That's the advice. Yeah, put it that way. AI so far has become the friend of the teacher and also the friend from the students. But they will be very useful for the students. But you cannot use Grammarly for teaching.
Okay, thank you, Chef. Now we have Nur Kalipa, how we could give fair score according to capability of students. However, they could use technology too. How we could differentiate whether the students are able or not able to use target language. Thank you, sir.
Depends on what you're going to assess. You're going to assess the target language. Speaking, for instance, if speaking, they practice a lot using AI, then the speaking becomes very good, then it's good.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Then to make a difference with the students without AI, yeah, that's always like that. Using technology, the have who got the money, they will get benefit more. Like it or don't like it, that's the reality.
Okay, thank you, sir. We have passed the 15 minutes question and answer session. Thank you so much for the explanation, Dr. Jati. Once again, we are very honored to have you here.
Thank you very much, Ibu, and thank you very much, everybody. Again, if you like to know more or want to talk, pop up in my Facebook, my email, or my Twitter, but not Instagram. I still got confused how to reply on the Instagram. Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you very much, Pak Jati. This is the end of the first session. Before we move on to the second session, we will have a little game first. Okay, let me share my screen. Okay, I'm sorry, I need to call Tabita. Tabita, can you see my screen? Okay, thank you. Now everyone, this is the game. In this game, we are giving away 600,000 rupiah for 6 lucky winners. We will send the prize to your OVO, GoPay, or Shopee Pay balance. If you live abroad, you are very welcome to join. And if you are one of the lucky winners, we will send the prize to the digital wallet of your choice. It can be to PayPal, Apple Pay, or Google Pay. What you need to do is that now, please open your browser. I repeat, from your smartphone, notebook, or tab, please go to your browser, any browser of your choice. It can be Google Chrome, Opera, Mozilla Firefox, Apple Safari, UC browser, Microsoft Edge, or else. Okay, now please go to joinmyquiz.com and type the game code 445742. I repeat, from your browser, please go to joinmyquiz.com and enter the game code 445742. Okay, and enter your name. We have Miss Puji, Miss Dina. Yeah, I'm waiting for about 30 seconds, okay? Please go to joinmyquiz.com and enter the game code 445742. Okay, 10 more seconds. Okay, let's start the game. You need to answer the questions accurately. And then if you answer it fast and correct, you will be on the top of the list. Okay, so the system will decide whether you are the winner. Okay, I'll start now. Okay. Okay, that is the end of the game. Now we are back to Angela and Caroline. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Diah Ratnawati. Now we have come to the second session with the topic of pedagogical consideration in blended learning that will be delivered by Ms. Lexie Estacio, MA. This session will be led by Ms. Jessica Febrina as the moderator and Ms. Yudita Putri as the note taker.
Thank you, MCs. Good morning, dearest participants. I am Jessica Fabrina, and I'll be the moderator for this session. We come to the second session with Lexie Estacio, MA, and the topic of this session is pedagogical considerations in blended learning. The session will take 30 minutes for the presentation, and it will be followed by 15 minutes of question and answer session. During the presentation, we welcome all participants to give questions into the Q&A forum or Q&A box in your control panel, not in the chat box. Before we move to the presentation, I'd like to introduce our speaker. Ms. Lexie Estacio, MA, is a faculty member of the University of Asia and the Pacific, UANP, located in Pasig City, Metro Manila, Philippines. The Master Study Program in TEFL has had collaboration with UANP for years, so it feels like we have our sister here. Ms. Estacio has earned her Bachelor of Arts major in Humanities and Master of Arts in Education major in Child Development and Education. That's also in the UANP. Currently, she is also doing her doctoral study in College of Education in University of the Philippines, Diliman. Thus, throughout her study, she has been in the major of education, specifically in child development and education. Without further ado, let's welcome Lexie Estacio, MA.
Thank you very much, Jessica, for the introduction. I'd like to first thank the committee for inviting me to participate in this morning's webinar. So allow me to share my screen first. So maybe just for everyone to have an idea, this is how our university looks like. So I am delivering my talk right here from Manila, Philippines. I'm a faculty member of the School of Education and Human Development, as Jessica mentioned earlier. I forgot to inform the committee that I'm also a member of the Academic Technologies team of UANP. And I think that that responsibility really helped me in preparing this morning's talk. Anyway, allow me to continue. So pedagogical considerations in blended learning. So there are two, maybe we can say two heavy terms here, pedagogical considerations and blended learning, which we will try to define in the upcoming slides. So I only have 3 goals. Every time I give a talk, I only limit the number of objectives or learning goals into 3, because I know that learning can be tedious, especially now that we're doing everything online. And if we can recall at least 3 points that we learned from a talk or a conference, then it means that somehow we indeed learned from the session. So the first one is we're going to define what blended learning is. And then second is, as teachers, I know that all of us are familiar with the concept of constructive alignment. Okay, now that we are shifting online, the focus really is almost 100% on technology. Okay, so technology is only one of the components that teachers must consider. Okay, let's not forget that when we teach, okay, there are also pedagogical principles that we must not forget. Okay, otherwise, questions that you have been asking a while ago will always surface. Like, how will I know if my students are learning? So what do I do? My students just simply watch YouTube videos, but they do not seem to engage, etc. So if we have, if we keep in mind constructive alignment in the way we deliver our courses, then we can be more assured that our students will participate in our courses. Okay, and then the third is, since we're talking about shifting to online teaching, then it would be proper for us to familiarize ourselves with with some models of technology integration, okay, that I think many educators have been using. So for this session, I will introduce 2 models only at the latter part, okay, of the session. Okay, so I'd like to point out that we are so worried. In fact, when the crisis happened, okay, here in Manila, all of us were really lost. Okay, we didn't know. So what do we do? Okay, we at UANP, at the University of Asia and the Pacific, we had what we call emergency remote teaching, wherein the only goal was survival. Okay, we just had to end the semester, okay, cover whatever was left in our courses, and make sure to deliver them before the semester ends. Okay. But that was the response because it was an emergency situation. Now that we have more time to reflect on what happened, and now that we have started to accept the reality that it will take some time for us to go back to face classes, okay, we might as well capitalize on the strengths of the digital environment. Okay, we keep on saying that it would be impossible, no face to face. How will I know if my students are learning if I can't see them? Now, as teachers, I know that all of us are smart. Okay, we're intelligent. We know our ways. Okay, let's look at the advantages. Okay, of having the digital environment. Okay, as our new venue for learning. So I got three very interesting points from Johns Hopkins University in the United States of America. And it pointed out three strengths. And I would like to share them with all of you. Okay, the first is that, okay, student-centered learning. Okay, once students are online, okay, they can have, okay, the opportunity to be more active in their own learning. So it means that, okay, independent learning will be nurtured. Okay. When they were with us inside the classroom, of course, they were more confident because there is an authority who provides them, okay, with the materials, with the content. Okay. I think it's also the same now. We still provide the content, the materials, but then they are driven, they are pushed, okay, to be more independent, okay, to be more active in their own learning. Otherwise, okay, they will not progress, okay, or they will not pass the course, they will fail. So students now realize that they don't have a choice but really to study the materials. Otherwise, they will suffer, okay? So I think that as an educator, this is something that I want my students to develop, okay? Independent learning. Okay, so that's one strength, okay, brought about by having a digital environment. The second is this, okay, connectedness. Okay, since students have access, okay, to their devices, well, I would say that in Indonesia, internet is really much better compared here in Manila. I know this because this is, I think, the first year that I will not be traveling to Indonesia. Since 2014, I have been traveling at least twice a year, okay, to Surabaya and Jakarta to precisely to give trainings also and to have collaborative activities with several higher education institutions, especially Vidya Mandala. Okay, I think in Indonesia it is even easier to really ask the students to be connected 24/7 because internet is much cheaper and you have better internet connection compared here in the Philippines. Okay, so if they are connected 24/7, then you can, okay, use that to your advantage, okay, to give them, okay, formative evaluations. And as educators, we are very much familiar with formative. When we say formative, okay, these are evaluations that we give all throughout the duration of a course. So we don't just give one-time, big-time tests or projects, but we give them many assessments or tests, okay, all throughout the course. So they will be able to do that because they are in a digital environment. So, and then the third point is that, okay, the digital environment will still allow the students, okay, to collaborate, okay, and explore resources available online. In fact, the internet really presents a vast, okay, source of materials for the students to explore. So in that case, okay, the teacher can be more strategic in assigning assessments. Okay, you can assign evaluations or assessments that are authentic in nature. Okay, they have access, okay, to so many resources online that they can learn from. And they can apply, okay, these learnings when you give them authentic assessment exercises, okay, or homeworks. So I think with those three important points, I'm already appreciating that even if we will not be conducting face-to-face classes, we will still be able to help our students develop the necessary skills that we want them to develop. Okay, so let's take a look, okay, on this slide. It shows here, okay, since we are embarking on a new learning environment, definitely, okay, there are also changes that both the teachers and the students have to assume, okay, to make it work. So, educators, please take note, okay, we have to shift our rules. Okay, if we're shifting online, we also have to be transformed in our rules. So if previously we were simply transmitting knowledge, okay, now we simply have to be guides and facilitators of knowledge for our students. Okay, if we used to control learning of our students, now we should not be continuing, okay, that practice. Okay, we have to be the creator of the learning environment instead. And third point, okay, I think this is something that we really have to accept. Okay, we always claim that if you are the teacher, you are the expert in the classroom. Okay, that may be true because you have more years of experience compared to your students. Okay, but in a digital environment, okay, we can collaborate with our students. Okay, to create, okay, to make more sense of content and knowledge, okay, of our courses. So we have to be collaborators, okay, with our students. Okay. So if initially, okay, we were just learning how to use ICT or technology, okay, now our responsibility is to use or make use of ICT to enhance learning of our students. Okay. So, and then the other one, if we were just simply, presenting knowledge, okay, now, okay, our role is we have to be more interactive. Okay, we have to give our students experiential, okay, activities and assignments. Okay. But because as what I said earlier, it's not only the teacher who has to adjust. Okay, this is a bit of consolation for us educators. We are being very hard on ourselves because we think that learning only depends on us. Okay, that it's our responsibility. Okay, that if the students do not learn, then maybe there is really a problem with the way we teach. Okay, but we also have to consider the perspective that the students also have an important role to play in the learning process. In fact, according to this slide, okay, the students also have to shift their roles. Okay, first from being a passive learner, okay, to being more active. Okay, and then second, instead of just duplicating knowledge, reproducing whatever it is that they find online, okay, they have to be the one to produce, okay, the information or the knowledge. Okay. From being dependent, they have to be independent learners. Okay. From being solitary learners, they should know how to collaborate with one another. Okay. And then lastly, instead of just focusing, okay, on learning content, okay, they have to be more flexible. Okay. They have to make more sense of what they learn, okay, from their courses in the university or perhaps even in high school or elementary. Okay. So all of these, okay, will lead us to the conclusion that online teaching is only half the battle. Okay, sound online learning habits on the part of the students is the other half. So if one part is missing, then we can see that we will not succeed. So as much as we want to be very demanding, okay, of ourselves to perform better, we should also focus on how to prepare the students. If we're shifting our paradigm to online teaching, the students also have to shift their paradigm to online learning. So the two have to go together. Okay? Otherwise, efforts will be difficult. And that brings me to this important consideration first. We keep on hearing the word educational technology, distance education, online learning, and blended learning. Now let's try to understand better, okay, what each term really means. Okay, starting with educational technology. So you simply have to look at the words that I highlighted. So EdTech, okay, for short, okay, it presents a broad variety of modalities, tools, and strategies, okay, for learning. Okay, now the presence of EdTech doesn't mean that, okay, the teacher or the students will already, okay, succeed in learning. Take note, okay, on the italicized text here says that the effectiveness of educational technology, okay, such as computers, learning management system, okay, educational applications, etc., okay, will depend greatly on how teachers and students, on how it helps teachers and students achieve the desired instructional goals. Meaning that when we use educational technology, they have to be targeted to specific instructional goals. Okay, there has to be intended learning outcomes. Okay, because if not, okay, you will be drowning, okay, with a lot of educational tools available. Okay, but if you know very well what are your learning objectives or your learning goals, and you will choose only, okay, the specific educational technology available to suit your goals, okay, then you will be more productive. And then the other one is distance education. So the word distance already connotes, okay, what it means. Okay, so it's any type of educational activity in which the participants, okay, are at a distance from each other. Okay, so maybe what we are doing now, okay, we're having a distance webinar because we are separated by space. So that's distance education. And then we also have online learning. So what is online learning? Okay, so instructional environments supported by the internet. So if you're teaching and you're not using the internet, now can you see that it's online learning? So obviously not. Okay, what makes online learning online is simply because you capitalize on the internet, okay, in teaching. Okay, and then the last term that I would like to define, okay, would be, for me, the most interesting of all the four terms, and that is blended learning. Okay, so it's more commonly known, actually not more commonly known, but I think some of you may know blended learning as hybrid learning. Okay, so it says here, it allows students to receive significant portions of instruction two ways, either face-to-face or online. Okay, so the blending, okay, the use of, okay, two modalities, okay, face-to-face and online, when you blend these two, okay, results in blended learning. Hence the term blended. Okay, but then it would be impossible for us to understand better what blended learning is without keeping in mind asynchronous versus synchronous learning. So asynchronous learning, I think in the first talk earlier, this was mentioned several times. Okay, if the student is given the liberty to access materials, content, or any learning materials, okay, using his own time according to his own schedule anytime he wants, then that is asynchronous. Okay, but then if the teacher will require everybody to be present in a lecture all together, all at the same time, okay, as a class, then that is synchronous. So it happens, okay, in real time. Now, I would like to share with you that I mentioned earlier that I am a member of the Academic Technologies section of the University of Asia in the Pacific. Okay, we have coined another definition for blended learning. Okay, and that is combination of synchronous and asynchronous online learning experiences. Okay, so these two types of activities are what we blend. Okay, and that's how we define blended learning in our university. And how do we do that? Okay, we make use of Canvas as a learning management system. I'm not sure if in Indonesia this has already been used or is being used by some higher education institutions, but at least in the Philippines, many big universities have started to use Canvas as its learning management system. So in the case of UANP, okay, the blend that we use are synchronous and asynchronous activities. Why? Because face-to-face activities will not be possible until a vaccine is discovered according to our president. So for now, okay, what we will blend will be synchronous and asynchronous learning activities. Okay. Now that we have two considerations or two definitions that we have identified for blended learning, now let's take a look more closely, okay, into this concept of constructive alignment. So this image here shows three components. You have the learning outcomes, you have assessments, and you have teaching and learning activities. Now, for your course to have constructive alignment, you have to make sure that these three are satisfied, okay? Learning outcomes, okay? Identify what should students learn or be able to do when they finish the course. And then second is assessment. Okay. What are the tasks that you will give to your students to allow them to demonstrate, okay, that they have achieved the learning outcomes? Okay. And lastly, to be able to help the students demonstrate, okay, those skills or abilities, you should provide them with the teaching and learning activities appropriate. Okay. Now, why am I reviewing constructive alignment? Okay. With the shift to online learning, okay, we don't have the luxury, okay, to really clarify with our students face-to-face everything, okay, that happens in our classes. So we need to be very strategic in the design of our courses. Okay, what do I mean by that? We need to focus on the essentials of our course. We need to accept the fact, okay, that what we used to do, okay, during face-to-face classes, okay, will not be possible 100%. And that there are some aspects of our course, okay, that we will have to sacrifice. But there are also some aspects of our course which we consider as non-negotiables. Okay, meaning that if they don't learn these skills, okay, in my course, it's as if it's useless, okay, that they have taken, okay, the subject. So as an educator, we need to be more strategic. Okay, let's review our course content. Okay, what are those non-negotiables in my course that I would like my students to learn? And then second, okay, how will I help my students manifest that they have learned, okay, those non-negotiable aspects of my course? Okay, and then for teaching and learning activities, what activities do I give or assign my students to help them prepare, okay, for the assessments? Okay, so the idea of constructive alignment will help us, okay, review our courses better. Let's not forget that even if we're shifting online and that we're going to use technology, we will be forgetting about this. Okay, we still need to be very clear about what we want to teach or our students to learn, and also our choice of assessment, as well as teaching and learning activities. Okay. So, okay, to know about, okay, how will I frame, okay, or state my intended learning outcomes? we used to have to refer to Bloom's taxonomy of learning, right? So there are different levels. So lowest level would be remembering, understanding, applying, analyzing, evaluating. And then there are certain verbs associated, okay, per level. If you want the students to remember, okay, to target this level, then it simply just refers to recalling of facts and basic concepts. Okay, if you want the student to exhibit understanding, okay, of a course material, then ask the students to explain the ideas or concepts. Okay, application would be using the information in a situation. Okay, analyze, drawing connections, okay, among the ideas presented in your course. Then evaluate, the fifth level, okay, justify a standard decision to make a value judgment using perhaps a criteria. And the highest level of learning we can say would be create. We are successful, okay, or we can say that the student has achieved the highest level in Bloom's taxonomy if he or she will be able to produce new or original work. Now, in 2009, okay, Andrew Churches came up with, okay, what he calls Bloom's digital taxonomy. Okay, it's also aligned, okay, to the 6 levels of knowledge, okay, by Bloom. Okay, only that he infused technology, okay, or digital know-how, okay, in the achievement of the different levels of knowledge. Okay, so as you can see here, it starts with targeting the lower order thinking skills up to the highest order thinking skills. Now, let's take a look at the lowest level, remembering. So what are the activities, okay, involving the use of technology or digital tools, okay, that will allow the students to exhibit the lowest level of knowledge? Okay, that would be bookmarking, copying, highlighting, or searching. Okay, for understanding, you can ask the students to do journaling, or to tweet, okay, tagging, or subscribing. Okay, applying, calculating, charting, editing, uploading. If you want the students to manifest analyzing, okay, ask them to do mind mapping, surveying, linking, and validating. Okay. If you want them to achieve the 5th level, okay, second to the highest, evaluating, okay, you can ask them to evaluate, okay, make their own judgment of a certain material. Okay, for example, if you're teaching, I don't know, advertising, okay, you can ask the students to evaluate, okay, a digital ad, okay, that's published, I don't know, in a website of a certain company. Okay, so there are ways, okay, that you can carry out, okay, the different activities using digital tools. So we also have testing, posting, and then moderating. So I think just like what the committee is doing now, they organize this webinar. So this really is a manifestation of Bloom's digital taxonomy. They're carrying out, okay, a class requirement using technology, okay, and then creating. So you can ask your students to do blogging, okay, to blog about a certain idea, okay, or a concept, important concept in your course. Okay, you can also ask them to do filming, okay, podcasting, and as well as directing. So this is very helpful for us educators because we realize that there are really many options, okay, that we can use, okay, if we want to really integrate technology in our courses or in our teaching practices. And we can use Bloom's digital taxonomy, okay, as a guide for that. So here are some commonly used activities, okay, used in online and blended learning. So you have here, when you ask the students to blog or vlog, okay, that's asynchronous, okay. And there are also some activities here that can be done, okay, both synchronously and asynchronously. So you can ask them to do collaborative writing or story making, content production, okay, discussion forum, okay, and then e-portfolio would be asynchronous, okay, games or gamification. I'm pretty surprised that my students are able to do this. Maybe I'm not really that advanced yet in technology, but yeah, they're able to do this, okay, very easily. Intelligent tutoring, live video chats, okay, mapping, multimedia presentations, online drawing and drafting, plagiarism checking. In the talk earlier, a lot of resource websites were presented to facilitate this, as well as administration of quizzes and surveys, okay, video chatting and conferencing, video creation, okay, virtual gallery walks. It's possible. It was mentioned that I am really an early childhood educator by profession. Okay, actually, until now, I still practice that. We used to do a lot of virtual field trips, okay, wherein we take the students to, yeah, different places using YouTube. Okay, so who would have thought that it would be possible for you, okay, to talk about, let's say, New York without leaving, okay, the classroom. Okay, so we really have been using that, okay, even before the pandemic happened. So we have been integrating technology in our classes. Okay, virtual reality scenarios, okay, wiki building. So in terms of activities, okay, I think that there are many options. It's just that we need to be very specific, and we need to know what exactly it is, okay, that we want to achieve in our courses. Okay. So the big question now is, how will I know if my students are learning if I can't see them? Okay. This is really a big question. Okay. But really, if you want to know, the answer to this simply is you should have a good assessment strategy. And when you say good assessment strategy, what would be that? Okay, those assessment strategies, okay, that focus on performance and products. So remember what I presented, okay, in Bloom's digital taxonomy. Okay, when you ask the students to blog, okay, both performance and product can be manifested in that simple activity, right? If you ask your students to collaborate, okay, in editing an essay using Google Docs, so you see them performing it real time, because in Google Docs, you can backtrack the different changes that have been made in the document. And at the end of it, you will also see the end product, the edited version of a paper. So how real or authentic can that get? You see it real time using technology. So always capitalize on performance and products. Now, how about the objective types of tests like quizzes, multiple choice? Okay, are those advisable? There was a question earlier in the first talk that, how do you prevent cheating? Okay, if you'll ask me, really, my point of view is that, do not assign them objective types of tests, because, okay, that will really inspire them, okay, to cheat. Okay, they can simply take a photo, okay, of the screen, okay, once the different quiz items are flashed, and they can share that with their classmates. Whereas if you ask them to do performance assessment or product, or present products such as e-portfolio, then you can be more assured that it is really their skills and capabilities that are being showcased. Okay, it's not going to be products of cheating. Now, you might ask me also the question, what if they ask somebody else to do it for them? Okay, to design the e-portfolio, okay, to edit paper using Google Docs, somebody else will do it for them. Now, that's, okay, where the preparation of being responsible. They have to be more responsible. So it's not only the teacher who will take the effort. Okay, the students also need to practice independent learning. Okay, for this new learning setup to succeed. So don't be too harsh on yourselves, educators. Okay, half of the learning process is dependent on us. Okay, but it will not be successful. Okay, until the students also give their share of the responsibility. Now, if they're going to cheat, then that's their problem, okay? Because they will not learn, and that will be manifested, okay, when they start working in the workplace. Okay, they don't have skills to showcase. So who will be at a disadvantage? It's not really the teacher, okay, but it's the student himself, okay? So those are just some of the realizations that we need to accept. Okay. Here, I got this from the American University in Cairo. So when they had to when they resorted to emergency remote teaching, they published this in their website, okay, to give the teachers alternatives on assessment. Okay, so if they're suggesting that if you give a lot of examinations, okay, alternatives for that would be converting them to multiple smaller assignments, okay, or you can do an oral exam, okay, instead of written exam, okay, or you can instead give a project, a paper, or a presentation, okay. So written papers with multiple drafts, you can use Blackboard, okay. Turnitin also, UANP uses Turnitin, okay. And then one of the old methods would be to simply send you an email, okay. Okay, presentations. Here, I think this is a bit heavy. You can ask your students to pre-record the videos. Okay, you can also ask them to upload the videos and you can just access them. And you can also do live video conferencing using Zoom, Google Meet. What else do you have? FB Messenger. Yeah, so it is still possible for you to assign presentations, okay? But that will be synchronous activity. Okay, group projects also is possible if you ask them to work using Google Docs, Google Slides, or Blackboard. Okay, it's the same also for student-led discussion, similar to presentations. You can do video conferencing. And then graded assignments, okay, email, Turnitin, and Blackboard. Okay, so what's the point of this? Okay, the idea is there are alternative assessments that we can use. Okay? We just have to re-examine the types of requirements or assignments that we give to our students. And definitely, there are corresponding assessment strategies for those. Okay. Well, the usual types of requirements that we give would normally be exams, papers, what else? Presentation, right? Or publishing a book. So those can easily be done online, and they shouldn't hinder us from still delivering quality assessments, okay, in our classes. Okay. So I'm done with the first 2 points. Okay, we have already defined blended learning. We said that blended learning is a combination of face-to-face and online sessions. Okay, but in the case of UANP, in the institution where I work, okay, what we blend are synchronous and asynchronous sessions because it is impossible for us to conduct face-to-face classes. And then second, we have also reviewed constructive alignment, and we try to identify, okay, the alternatives for teaching and learning activities as well as assessment. Okay, so the last part would be here. I will present 2 models of technology integration. So since we are shifting online, then it is a must, okay, that we use technology or integrate technology in our teaching practice. Okay, we have what we call a TPAC framework. Okay. Okay, what is this? It has 3 components. Okay, it's saying that okay, you should know content. Okay, that's one component. You should also know, you should know what to teach, and you should also know how to teach the content. Okay, but it's not complete unless you integrate technology. So, okay, that's what TPAC okay, stands for. Okay, you should have technological, pedagogical content knowledge. Okay, so this is actually a very theoretical framework, okay, as compared to the next one that I will be presenting. But okay, to give you okay, more specific examples, okay, these are the different TPAC dimensions. So TPAC construct, okay, or the dimension, if you are only integrating technology and knowledge, that would only be TK. Okay, only two components. Okay, so example would be knowledge about how to use okay some web tools. Okay, if it's just pedagogical knowledge, okay, the label for that will only be PK. Okay, it means that you are only using pedagogy. Okay, you have knowledge on how to teach. Okay, but if it's content knowledge, okay, you are only focusing on the content, okay, or knowledge or what to teach in your subject. Okay, that and this can be the shortcut for this would be CK. Now, what if you're combining pedagogical knowledge and content knowledge? Then that will be PCK. Okay, it means that you have both considered how to teach and what to teach. Okay, now what if you are considering or you have integrated technology, pedagogy, and knowledge? So this would be okay a very good step already because there are three components being considered already. Okay. Sorry, only two, technological and pedagogical. Only two, technology and pedagogy. So that's TPK. Now, what if you are only looking at or considering technology and content? So the shortcut for that would be TCK. So there's still one component missing there, right? So, okay, for online teaching to be successful, it should be TPAC, meaning there's technological, pedagogical, and content knowledge considerations. Okay, so an example with this would be knowledge about how to use a wiki as a communication tool to enhance collaborative learning in social science. So three dimensions or components: technology, pedagogy, and content. Okay, if you want to be an effective online teacher, okay, the three must be present in your practice. Okay, another model here is what you call the SAMR. Okay, SAMR stands for four components. Okay, S stands for substitution. Okay, A for augmentation, M for modification, and R for redefinition. Now, for substitution, it's easy to understand. You're simply using technology as a substitute. Okay, to an activity, okay, or a learning opportunity that you present to your student. Now, augmentation, when you augment something, you add something, right? So, technology acts as a direct substitute with with functional improvement. Okay. Now, if you modify, okay, the word already presents itself. Modify. Okay, you have to redesign, okay, or change something. So that's why it's called modification. Okay, but then if the activity or learning the learning assignment has changed completely because of the use of technology, then that's the time that you can say that redefinition took place. Okay, so to give more concrete examples, we have here, okay, for substitution here. The students write using a digital tool, which is, for example, Google Docs. You ask them. Since we are doing online learning, you don't ask them to print their paper anymore. Instead, okay, they use Google Docs for that. So that's substitution, because you're substituting the use of Google Docs, okay, with the use of paper and pen, okay? Now, what if the students make use of the editing tools available in Google Docs? Now, that's the time when you can say that you are doing augmentation. That's letter A. Okay, you augment the use of Google Docs using the editing tools available, okay, in Google Docs. Okay, and then if you ask the students to do this, okay, share links to their writing, share links of their writing with their peers. And then ask their classmates also to do peer editing and feedback using the same medium, which is Google Docs. So you have added, okay, additional task, and that is peer editing, right? So that's modification. Okay, from the original task of simply submitting a paper, okay, you have modified it to include peer editing and feedback. Okay, and then the highest example, okay, would be R, which stands for redefinition. Okay, you're redefining a task already using technology. So how has that changed? Okay, the student will publish, okay, the paper, okay, where? In a blog publication or an LMS platform, or whatever it is, whatever web page or online sites available, they will publish their writing. So do you see it? Okay, from the mere submission of a paper and pen, okay, you can level up, okay, the learning activity or assignments that you give, okay, to make the students show authentic learning and do performance as well as present a product. So in this example, we can clearly see that it is indeed possible for us to make use of technology, okay, to enhance our teaching, okay, to enhance pedagogy. We just need to be, okay, very strategic about it, and we need to be masters of our subject content. Okay? And I think it follows that for many cases, that if you are very well knowledgeable, okay, of the content of your subject, then you will easily be able to think of learning activities to give your students. Okay, so again, I would like to reiterate, okay, that online teaching is only half the battle. Okay, sound online learning habits on the part of the students is the other half. So educational institutions, and I think teachers also have the responsibility, okay, to come up with, I don't know, trainings or projects that will allow the students to develop, okay, the said online learning habits. Otherwise, okay, we will not succeed in online learning. So it has to be both the teachers and the students working together for learning to take place. Now, I would like to end my talk with what Bill Gates said. He said that technology is just a tool. Okay, in terms of getting the kids working together and motivating them, okay, the teacher is the most important. So it has worked in the past. In the absence of technology, if you have a good teacher, learning will definitely take place. But now that we are pushed by circumstances, okay, we need to make use of technology, okay, to enhance our teaching and to ensure that learning will still continue no matter what. And with that, I end my presentation. I think we will allot some minutes for Q&A, right?
Yes. Thank you, Mrs. Estacio, for the insightful presentation and explanation. That's so practical. Now, I'd like to open the question and answer session. There are so many questions here, but we'd like to choose some questions, and I'll try to combine some questions which are similar due to the time limitation. So the first question comes from Professor Sanjayan. He's far away from India. And he's asking about the students' experiences while doing the online teaching. So what do you think about the students who are especially in remote areas, who are experiencing psychological stress and dilemma because of the online learning? Perhaps it's because the students cannot reach the online activities, or perhaps because they cannot meet the teachers and also the other friends? What do you think about that?
Okay. So, in the case here in Manila, well, in fact, there are many remote places here in the Philippines. And I personally know a lot of teachers who are experiencing that. They feel so helpless because their students are in remote areas. So what many division offices, we call division offices, the different Department of Education units in the entire country, would do is to provide learning packets or home learning kits. Okay, so they really will resort to the traditional way of doing it. Okay, but we have also seen a lot of heartwarming circumstances wherein a specific barrio um, would be helped by an institution, by a group of people. They would raise a certain amount and provide iPads and internet connection, okay, to those groups. So I think that the shift to online learning is not only teaching us about the power of technology, it's also teaching us about how to be more human, how to be more responsible, because we know that in those remote area, it will simply be impossible. So what people are doing now is either to give them the necessary tools, internet, and then computers, laptops, or if it's really not possible because the places are too remote, okay, they give them the materials, hard copies. Well, that's the only way that it can be done, I think.
Okay, thank you. That also, I think, answers Ms. Nizar's question about the flexible learning. So the answer might be about the learning package given by the institutions. Now, I'd like to move a bit to teaching English to young learners. If I'm not mistaken, UANP also have CDC, Child Development Care, and you're part of it. And what do you think about the amount of time that the young learners can bear for the online learning, especially for the online face-to-face activities?
Okay. You see, we need to be very true to ourselves. We know that for young learners, really doing online classes is really a bit of a disadvantage because we want them to do hands-on activities. Okay, but given that we don't have a choice, okay, we try to limit, okay, the number of hours. So let's say for 3-year-olds, we limit it to 45 minutes only a day. And then that is supplemented by the learning packets. I think I can share some photos of the learning kits, okay, that we provide. I'm just waiting for it to download. And then for 4-year-old, it would be 1 hour to 1.5. Okay, and then for kindergarten, 5 years old, that would be around 1.5 to 2 hours. Okay, but okay, for if the activity will or the class will last for more than an hour, we make sure to have breaks in between. Okay, to let the eyes of the children rest, okay, first. So I have here, I'll share my screen now just to give you an idea of the learning packets that we share to preschool. Can you see it? Am I successful in sharing the?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Here.
So do you see here, it really involves a lot of hard work. So the lesson plans, it's there. Okay, and even, what we do traditionally, we ask them to say, I survived my first day of kindergarten. Instead of doing that, we give them the badges, okay, which the parents will give to them if they survive the first day. And then we give them also their sign-in folder, okay, which they do together while online in Zoom, okay, as well as all the materials. So this is where teacher dedication will play an important role, because if you're not a dedicated educator, I don't think that you will have really the patience to prepare all of these. So this is how detailed the learning packets that we give to our students. So everything's there. Okay, so even so we send this monthly to the students. And then during the online Zoom sessions, okay, we make use of the contents of the learning kit. So there, just to give you an idea, because I see that there are preschool teachers also listening to the webinar. So there, so maybe around 45 minutes to 2 hours, but it depends still on how the students will experience.
I see. Okay, following that, there is also a question from Puspita asking about how the parents' perception about the children's security in doing the teaching and learning activities in online. So the case might be that the children watch too many videos or watch too many other websites that are might be not connected to the teaching and learning activities. So how do the teachers can convince the parents so that the parents will be or will feel safe?
Okay. I think this is especially true for young learners, maybe up to elementary. Okay, because for high school and college students, I think that it's possible for the teacher to simply just upload the materials and they do independent learning. Okay, but for younger learners, okay, what's important is the element of making the sessions real and interactive. Okay, meaning that the students have to know that they are interacting with a human person. Okay, so let me give you a very quick example. Okay, there is a family friend of ours, who has a grandson, here in the US. Okay, and then when they communicate, via FaceTime, the grandson, would touch the screen. It's as if the child is poking the grandfather. Okay, when the grandfather visited the US, and met the grandson for the first time, the grandson was doing the same thing. He was poking, and you know the answer to that. He was trying to find out if the grandfather was a real person. Okay, and that's a 3-year-old boy. So that was really a realization for me. Okay, that when we communicate with our students, we have to make them feel that the experience is real, that it's not just a one-way connection. Now, if the parents will see that, I think that they would appreciate online learning better. As you know, this is something new for all of us, and what we are doing now will be the future reference, of the future generations. So I think, yeah, so we just have to do it our best, given the knowledge that we have, and see if it works.
I see. Thank you, Miss. Now we move to another question talking about the LMS that the UANP used. So if I'm not mistaken, you mentioned before that the learning management system that you use is Canvas. So why do you think your institution or UANP choose Canvas? Any strengths compared to other LMS, perhaps Moodle or Edmodo? And also following that, there are also questions about hybrid versus blended learning, Miss.
Okay. Yes,
So,
I'll answer first hybrid learning and blended. Actually, they are interchangeably used. Okay, it's the same. Sometimes used in the same way. So blended, you use different. You combine either face to face and online activities. So that's also hybrid learning. Okay, and then the other one is about Canvas. So why did UANP choose Canvas as its learning management system? Well, in terms of features, well, it has better features because we try to look at the others also. And then in terms of the higher education institutions that use it, such as Harvard uses Canvas, Yale and Stanford universities, they're using Canvas. And we realized in UANP that, if these universities are using Canvas, then it must be really doing a good job. And even if it is a paid LMS, we are starting to see really the advantages of using it. It has a lot of features. Unfortunately, it will take us a whole session again for me to discuss the content. But in terms of usability, features as well as the grading component, everything is there. Connectivity and collaboration tools, those are made available in Canvas, and so that's why we choose Canvas.
I see. Thank you. Related to that, using the LMS or using the other teaching and learning activities in online, another question comes from Jun VA. So she asked about the inclusiveness of the lesson and students' engagement. So we know that there are some students who are not encouraged or who don't want to engage themselves in the virtual or online learning. What do you think the teachers can do for encouraging the students?
Okay. Yes, that is really possible that some students will not really want to participate. Okay. That's why we recommend that for preschool up to maybe P3, that's primary level 3. You call it in Indonesia primary level, right? But here in the Philippines, we call it grade 3. We require that an adult be present beside the child, okay, guiding the child also. But then that poses another question. Okay, what if the parents are working? So the parents just have to simply designate another adult at home, okay, to help the child, okay, or to accompany the child during the online sessions. And in fact, we really require, okay, that someone be there with the child because that will ensure their safety and security, okay, while attending the online classes.
I see. Okay. Then another question also comes from Uni. She is asking about how to really design the best teaching and learning activities in online because most of the time the students cannot really connect themselves with the assessments given. And yeah, Mr. Sanjayan also asked about the assessments that can make the students be interested in learning.
Yeah, I discussed earlier about constructive alignment, right? Okay, so teachers, okay, have to first identify, okay, what are the essentials of my course, okay, that I need to carry out or that I need to teach, okay, because in our course there are many other skills or content that we target, okay, but not all of them really are the super essentials, okay. So first, you decide what are those really non-negotiable areas of our courses, okay, that we want to impart to our students. And then second, okay, how will the students manifest that they have learned the non-negotiable? So you use the assessment activities. Now, when you choose assessment activities, make sure, okay, or it's better if you target performance and product, okay. If it will inspire the students, let's see, blogging, right, or vlogging, okay. I think the students really like that if they present a certain concept doing blogs, okay. That will target already performance assessment and product, okay, meaning that it has to be authentic. It has to be something meaningful for the learner. Okay, so that he will be inspired to do. Just like for us, I think if something does not interest us, okay, and we find it so difficult, we will not do it. Okay, but for the students now, millennial and Gen Z learners, I think that they're so good, in doing blogs, in doing vlogs, in tweeting, in posting in Facebook. Okay, example, okay, if you're teaching values, okay, what could be a very good way or a project that you can ask the students to do if you want to teach other kids about responsibility? You can ask them to do a Facebook campaign. And that's a very authentic way of assessing their skills. Okay. Um, and the impact of that would be great. I mean, you really see, okay, I mean, right there and then, okay, that it's working, okay, their campaign. How? Because if there are a lot of comments, a lot of likes, I don't know, a lot of shares, then you can say that it's working, right? So we just need to stretch out our minds. There are ways, okay, that we can use, okay, technology tools that we can use to make learning more meaningful, okay, even if it's done online. Okay.
I see. You mentioned before several times about vlogs and Facebook campaign. I think that's also wonderful. But then another question comes from Ika Fatin. She asked about related to that. So if we try to use that contents or those contents for teaching speaking, then it will be another additional workload for the teacher, especially if they have more than perhaps 20, 30 to 40 students. So, is there any other tips for us so that we can be more encouraged to check the students' work?
Um, well, actually, I also don't know. I think that as teachers, it has always been expected, okay, that we love to really drown ourselves with work. Um, I don't know, maybe you can make it as a class project, okay? I see one course in, was it, yeah, in UANP, wherein the course is a corporate social responsibility. And of course, if you're teaching corporate social responsibility, okay, you want the students to be, okay, more aware of what's happening in his surrounding and to be more concerned, okay, about to be more socially responsible. And the project given by the teacher for that was to fundraise, okay, for a certain, I think, group of students, okay, for their, I already forgot, for the books, for books or learning materials. And we were so amazed with how the students carried out. It was a class project, okay? They did fundraising, they utilized everything, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, what else? Email campaigns. And I think they were able to raise about 1 million pesos. In rupiah, that's around times four. How much is that? I just know that 1,000 pesos is equivalent to, can you help me, Jessica? I forgot already the conversion. But anyway, 1 million is a big amount. Okay. Okay. Yeah. So we were amazed because that is authentic learning. Okay. That is authentic way of showing that they have learned. Okay. And it's also a way of manifesting the skills, okay, technological skills that the students have. Um, so maybe think of a group project instead of a big group project, okay, instead of, many groups. But if you'll ask me, sometimes it's also necessary that we really assign them to different groups, small groups. That way we manage, okay, better. But it really depends on the nature of the learning objectives. I wouldn't say it would be the same for all. So it really depends.
I see. I think that will be the last questions of ours. Maybe you want to give few last sentences, Miss, for your presentation.
Okay. I mean, for my fellow educators, well, I'm very thankful that I was given the chance to talk here. I was also one of those teachers who felt so inadequate, okay, when we had to do emergency remote teaching in March, okay, when classes were all of a sudden suspended. But then in the process of, reviewing, reflecting, okay, I realized that there are some things that the teacher can control. Okay, and there's also other half that the teacher will not have control of, and that would be how the students will respond. Okay, but then if we make sure that our intentions are pure and that our concern really is just for the students to learn, I think that hard work always pays off if we are dedicated. Anyway, I know that we chose this profession because we want to be of help. We want students to learn and we want to be role models. So as long as those intentions are there, I think that we will succeed. So let's not be too harsh on ourselves. Okay, let's just do our very best. And for sure, in the end, things will turn out okay. So be positive. We can do this.
Amen. Thank you. Oh, Miss Joyce mentioned before about the conversion of the money. It's 170 to 180 million rupias.
So that's the amount that the students were able to raise, 180 million rupiah. Okay.
That's
I
a
need to go
lot.
to Indonesia again, so I'll remember the conversion.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you, Mrs. Sergio. We are sorry for the participants who have written down the questions. There are some questions left there, so we'd be very happy if Ms. Sergio can answer some of those questions later on after this. And once again, we are very honored to have you, Mrs. Sergio. Thank you very much. And this is one thing that I learned before. It's maraming salamat po. Is that true?
In Bahasa, right?
Yeah, yeah. Thank you very much. I'll give it back to the MCs.
All right. Thank you very much, Ms. Lexie Kahasio. Thank you for the wonderful insight. Now, just like the first session, we will have a break by the end of this session. You're going to answer another short quiz that will be explained further by Mr. Ahmad Koid Kabibi and Ms. Tabita Melania.
Okay. Hello, good morning, participant. After hearing the second session, it's game time. I'm Ahmad Koid Habibi and my friend Tabita Melania. We are going to play the second game, and we are sorry for the participants who have won the first quiz. You are not allowed to participate in this game. In this time, we have two short games entitled Emoji Quiz and What is Missing. Well, we will take 3 winners for each game. Let's go. In this emoji quiz, there will be some emoji shown in the slide. What you need to do is guessing the hidden movie title from the emoji appear on the screen. Remember, what you need to do is guessing the hidden movie title from the emojis appear on the screen. For example, we have an emoji of teddy bear here. So you have to name the movie title Ted. The second example, we have emoji of 2 balloons and a house. So you have to name the movie Up, UP. There will be 3 slides showing the emoji of 3 movie titles. When you see the emojis and guess the movie title, you can type it in the chat box. Make sure to use your real name in the Zoom so we can know who you really are. The fastest will be the winner. Let's get started. This is the first slide. You can start guessing the movie title. It is a famous movie often played in the Christmas event. All right. Time is yours. Then we have the winner here. The movie title is Home Alone. The next. What movie title can be found behind this emoji? Okay, this is movie of Titanic. And we go to the last one. What movie title can be found behind this emoji? All right, we have the winner. The movie title is La La Land. Okay, thank you for the joining the first quiz. And now we will move to the second game, which will be led by Tabita Melania. Time is yours.
Okay, hello everyone. This is Tabita, and here I will lead the second game. So this game is called What's Missing. Okay, now let's have a look at these 2 pictures at the bottom of the screen. So here in this game, there will be 2 slides that will appear in a series. On the first slide, what you have to do is memorizing the icons. You may memorize it naturally, or you may taking notes, taking picture, it's all up to you. However, you only have 12 seconds to memorize the icons. Remember, you only have 12 seconds to memorize the icons. After 12 seconds, the slide will turn automatically to the second slide. This is the second slide. On this slide, you have to find out what icons that are missing. For example, here we can see in the second slide that the egg and the tomato can are missing. In finding the missing icons, you have to pay attention on the instruction written on the balloon dialog. So here, as we can see, it stated that help me find 2 things that are missing. Later, maybe you will be asked to find 3, 4, or 5 things. It depends on each question. After you have found the answer, just type your answer on the chat box. Remember, type it on the chat box, not in the Q&A box. There will be 1 winner in each question, and we only have 3 questions here. The fastest will be the winner. Okay, now let's begin with question number 1. Your 12 seconds start now. Okay, so these are all LMS and some websites that we can use in this online learning. Now just memorize all of this items here. Later, after 12 seconds, it will turn. Now, help me find 2 things that are missing. Find 2 things that are missing. After you have found the answer, just type it on the chat box. Okay, now. Okay, so we have got a winner here. And the correct answers are Google Meet and Docebo. Now, let's move on to the second question. Your 12 seconds start now. Now memorize all of these icons. These are all fruits. You may memorize it naturally or you may take notes. Now help me find 3 things that are missing. Remember, find 3 things. After that, just type it on the chat box. Okay, we have got a winner here, and the correct answers are grapes, avocado, and coconut. Now, let's go on to the last questions, which is your last chance to get the prizes. Your 12 seconds start now. Okay, now, these are all things that we can find in the classroom. Just memorize all of these icons. Write the answer in English. We are still waiting for you. Four items. Remember, find 4 items. Help me find 4 things that are missing. Okay, we have got a winner here, and the correct answers are score, compass, calendar, and a school bag. Okay. Congrats all winners. Our team will contact you soon. For the others, thank you for participating in this game time. Make sure you are all stay until the end of this webinar to claim your e-certificate. All in all, Tabitha and Habibi signing off. Thank you and God bless you.
So thank you, Tabitha and Now we have ended the second session and the second quiz as well. Now we'd like to invite Mr. Evan Sanjaya to give the brief conclusion about the materials from both speakers. Mr. Sanjaya, time's yours.
Thank you for the chance, Miss Caroline. Well, I believe that the seminar is very essential, it's very inspirational for all of us. The speakers are very professional. The materials are very essential and really good. We know it already, it's very inspiring. And you are all, the honorable participants, are marvelously and actively engaging yourselves in this seminar. Now, here I am going to wrap up what we have learned so far in this seminar. I'm going to point out and refresh our memories about some important things that have been stated by the speakers. So, first of all, we have learned about low and high technology, led by the discussion led by Dr. Gumawang Jati and also Ms. Tia. We know it already that using technology for teaching is inevitable. We use media to facilitate ourselves in teaching learning activities, and online resources and authoring tools as well as creating tools are needed in adapting or in developing our materials in the classroom and also in supplementing our materials. If we are aware enough, actually we have abundant resources from authoring tools and creation tools as well. We have BBC, we have British Council, we have ESL, and many more. For authoring tools, also we have Flipgrid, Edpuzzle, and others. Meanwhile, for creating tools, we have Storyboard, we have missing lyrics, we have Photo Story, Screen Recorder, and any other Android or iOS apps. These applications, this media is really useful for us, especially for teaching learning activity in this situation, in this online situation. In this 4.0 era, we know that our technology has advanced so far, just like we are in the sci-fi movie. We have what we call as AI or artificial intelligence, like Siri, Bixby, Alexa, or even Google. So these personal assistant that we have, which is artificial intelligence, can be very useful for us, teachers and students, in developing the materials and in teaching learning activities. We can ask them to translate, we can show the map, we can ask them to show the maps, we can ask them to find specific information and many more. And simply put, life is easier with technology. After that, we learn about blended learning, the discussion led by Miss Lexie Kaha, and also Miss Jessica. We discuss about blended learning and pedagogical considerations in blended learning. And I believe the honorable participants here know well about what blended learning is. And in this discussion, we focus more on the importance of constructive alignment in blended learning. There are advantages that we can get from the blended learning and from the digital environment that we apply into the blended learning. In the blended learning, the students can be more active while we are being the facilitator, so that the students can reach the ZPD or the zone of proximal development. In the digital environment as well, we have the students and also us teachers have 24/7 access to the materials and courses, and thus we can monitor them in their progresses to be independent learners. Furthermore, with blended learning supported with digital environment, the types of learning assessment can be more personalized and authentic in nature. Though we have to be aware that the roles of teachers and students change drastically in this blended learning. Teachers become the facilitator and the students become more active as they try to be independent learner. In this distance education or blended learning, which is done in distance because we are having this pandemic situation, we need to use lots of supporting features as some tools and strategies for learning. Remember what is focused in the Bloom's taxonomy and Bloom's digital taxonomy. We are focusing on HOTS, high order thinking skill. In HOTS, in applying HOTS into the blended learning is really essential. And with HOTS, I believe, or we believe, that we can see the students' progresses in the learning clearer as it requires them to be creative. And eventually, with HOTS, we can achieve the ultimate learning goals, which is creating something, to create something. However, we have to keep in mind that we still have to monitor them in their progresses. And that's why we need good assessment strategies as required to help us in monitoring them. There are lots of ways to do assessment, and it's up to us which technologies that have been stated in the first discussion that we are going to use. In this modern era, technology integration is essential for teaching learning activities. Remember what Ms. Lexie has said about TPAC framework, which reminds us to think what to teach, how to teach, and how to use technology. Considering what TPAC offers to us will be very useful in developing our classroom activities and materials. Simply put, teaching learning activities are not always happen in class. There are situations which need us to change our tracks and everything else. Have no worries, because we have learned about consideration in blended learning and the technologies. So that is all that I can say to wrap up. So it's a wrap. Once again, thank you very much for your attention. Now I'm giving the chance back to Miss Angela. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sanjaya. Now, dear participants, thank you for your participation in today's webinar. We really appreciate that. Now, it is time for us to close this webinar by welcoming Mr. Hendra Teja Suksmana as the head of the Master Study Program in TFL to give a speech. Mr. Teja Suksmana, time's yours.
Okay, thank you. Dearest Dr. Gumawang Jati, Lexie, Estacio, Master of Arts, and all the participants. So you've been all with us from morning up to this hour. And now we have come to the peak of this webinar. And we'd like to thank you a lot again for having joined our webinar. We are sure that you all have got knowledge and also insight applicable to your teaching learning situation. And you see that we also to congratulate those who win the games, and they are sure they will get the prize. And please wait, the committee will soon contact you. Again, thank you. See you in our next webinar. Cheerio.
Thank you, Mr. Teja Suksmana. Now we'll invite Mr. Gayu Adi Prayoga as the head of the committees to give a closing speech. Mr. Prayoga, time's yours.
Dr. Gumawang Jati and Lexie Estacio MA, the committee would like to thank for your wonderful and inspirational presentations. You have given ways how to deal with technology in teaching so that students are more motivated to participate in class. It is an honor for us, the committee and the study program, to collaborate with both of you. The committee also appreciates the participation of all dearest participants. Thank you very much for taking time to join this webinar. We do hope that this webinar gives you valuable ideas and inspiration to develop your professionalism as teachers. Thank you very much, and see you on other webinars held by the Master's Degree Program in TEFL of Vidya Mandala Surabaya Catholic University. See you all. Goodbye and have a nice weekend.
Thank you, Mr. Prayoga. All right, it is time for us to announce the winners of the first and second quizzes held at each session. I will announce the winner. I will call the name by one. The winners of the first quizzes are first Mala, the second Ika Fatin, the third Mr. Putih, the fourth Puchi, the fifth Yunira Nur Rahmah, and the last is Yitsa Sarwono. I will repeat. The first is Mala, the second is Ika Fatin, the third is Mr. Putih, the fourth is Puchi, the fifth is Yunira Nur Rahmah, the sixth is Yitsa Sarwono. Congratulations! And the winners of the second quiz are the first, Karima Zanzapil, the second, Erlia Novi, the third, Salma Al, the fourth, Dewi O, the fifth, Pauline W, the sixth, Clementine Osa Cortisaro. Congratulations! Our committee will soon contact you.
And would like to give our deepest gratitude to both speakers, Dr. Gumawang Jati and Ms. Lexie Estacio MA, and also to all of the participants who have been joining us from the beginning until the very last session of this webinar. We do really hope that today's webinar will be beneficial for you in your teaching and learning processes.
Here we share the link of the questionnaire of this webinar as what we've explained in the rule and regulations. All of the participants have to fill in the questionnaire to get the e-certificate. The questionnaire will be opened until 4 p.m. The certificate will be sent to your email at the latest 2 days after today's. Thank you and God bless you. See you on the next webinar.